Have you ever wondered why your feet burn at night, why your toes feel numb, or why the floor suddenly feels strange beneath you? Many people are told it is just aging, but that is often not true. Major diabetes and nerve health sources warn that about 1/3 to 1/2 of people with diabetes develop peripheral neuropathy. And one of the biggest daily triggers is not exotic at all. It is the sugar-loaded, ultra-processed food pattern many people eat without a second thought. Sweet cereal, pastries, white bread, cookies, soda, sweet coffee drinks, even healthy snack bars. When I say toxic, I mean it acts like a slow nerve irritant when it becomes a daily habit. I'm Dr. Alina Serratia, and for the past 4 years, I've specialized in turning medical evidence into practical health guidance people can actually use. Before writing this message, I reviewed top-performing neuropathy videos with tens of thousands to millions of views. Then I checked their claims against Mayo Clinic, Cleveland Clinic, Medline Plus, NIH Resources, NIDDK, StatPearls, the Foundation for Peripheral Neuropathy, and peer-reviewed reviews on diet and exercise in diabetic neuropathy. Here's the pattern I found. Popular videos are right to focus on blood sugar, inflammation, and nutrient gaps, but many miss the most important point. Neuropathy is rarely about one magical bad ingredient. It is usually about a repeated daily pattern that spikes blood sugar, inflames small blood vessels, and slowly starves the nerves. Here's what's happening inside your body. Your nerves are like long electrical cables. They carry signals from your brain to your feet, hands, muscles, and organs. Around those cables is a protective coating, almost like insulation around a home wire. Now imagine what happens when those wires keep getting hit with sticky syrup day after day. That is a simple way to picture what repeated blood sugar spikes do. They create stress inside the nerve cells. They also damage the tiny blood vessels that feed the nerves with oxygen and nutrients. And nerves are hungry tissue. They need a steady fuel supply, just like a lamp needs a clean electrical current. When the blood vessels narrow and the internal chemistry becomes irritated, the signal starts to flicker. First, you notice tingling, then burning, then numbness, then weakness. And because the longest nerves are hit first, the feet usually complain before the hands. And this is where it gets interesting. Many people wait because the symptoms seem small. Maybe your socks feel strange. Maybe bed sheets hurt your toes. Maybe you wobble a little in the dark. But that is exactly why neuropathy becomes dangerous. Numb feet do not just feel odd. They stop warning you. You may not notice a cut, a blister, hot bath water, or a stone in your shoe. Major medical centers warn that neuropathy can raise the risk of wounds, infection, falls, and serious foot problems. The second mistake is thinking only table sugar counts. It doesn't. White bread crackers, fries, sweetened yogurt, donuts, fruit juice, sugary oatmeal, candy, and many packaged snacks all break down fast and can flood your system. So if you have been trying creams, rubbing oils, or random supplements while still eating foods that hit your bloodstream like a hammer, your nerves may be fighting with one hand tied behind their back. If any of that sounds familiar, stay with me, because in a moment, I'm going to show you the exact food pattern that hurts nerves most, the better swaps that calm the damage, and the safety rules you cannot ignore. And while you're here, subscribe and comment your country below. Join our family of wellness seekers, because I love seeing where everyone is watching from. So what is the toxic food I'm talking about? It is not a single leaf, seed, or spice. It is the daily habit of eating sugar-heavy, refined, ultra-processed foods that digest too fast and keep pushing your blood sugar up and down. That is the hidden truth. The nerve danger is often the pattern, not one dramatic ingredient. Research summaries and major clinics consistently point toward the same big levers: better blood sugar control, healthier meal structure, more whole foods, enough B vitamins, steady exercise, and less alcohol. That matters because some popular videos blame only seed oils, or only artificial sweeteners, or only dairy. But the strongest mainstream evidence points first to chronic high blood sugar, metabolic strain, inflammation, and nutrient shortfalls. In plain language, your nerves do better when your meals are slower, steadier, less processed, and less sugary. That is why removing the daily sugar bomb often helps more than buying the next expensive nerve support bottle. First comes the sugar surge. Every time you eat a fast-digesting, low-fiber, high-sugar, or refined carb meal, your bloodstream gets a quick wave of glucose. Your body tries to manage it. But if this happens again and again, the system becomes strained. Think of it like revving a car engine hard every day before it warms up. You can get away with it for a while, but the wear adds up. In diabetes-related neuropathy, Cleveland Clinic and NIH materials explain that high blood sugar can damage the small blood vessels that bring oxygen and nutrients to nerves. Without enough oxygen and fuel, nerve cells begin to malfunction. This is why the real issue is not just a sweet taste on your tongue. It is the chemical aftershock inside your tissues. People often tell me, but I don't eat much candy. Then we look closer. Breakfast is sweet cereal. Snack is crackers. Lunch is white bread. Afternoon is juice. Dinner is a big pile of mashed potatoes and dessert. The body does not care that the sugar arrived wearing different clothes. It still feels the load. A 72-year-old retired bookkeeper went from nightly burning feet to noticeably calmer evenings after 6 weeks of cutting sweet drinks, white bread, and cookies and building her meals around eggs, vegetables, beans, and fish. That kind of change is not magic. It is biology finally getting some relief. Then comes the blood vessel squeeze. Your nerves are not floating in space. They are fed by tiny vessels, like delicate garden hoses. If those hoses get inflamed, narrowed, or damaged, the nerve at the end of the line suffers first. That is one reason the toes and feet are common trouble spots. They are far away, and they depend on steady delivery. Imagine watering the farthest flowers in your yard with a hose that is kinked in 3 places. The flowers do not die in 1 minute. They slowly wilt. That is how neuropathy often develops. Mayo Clinic and Medline Plus both emphasize that diabetes is a leading cause of peripheral neuropathy and that uncontrolled sugar makes nerve damage more likely. This is also why many people say the symptoms creep in. At first, the nerves are underfed, but still hanging on. Later, the message becomes scrambled. You feel pins and needles, electric zaps, or the odd sense of wearing socks when you are barefoot. A 68-year-old former mechanic described it as walking on cardboard. When he stopped grazing on pastries and sweet coffee drinks through the day and started eating protein with fiber at each meal, he did not wake up cured. But he did say the floor felt less unreal after 2 months. That is the kind of honest progress I want you to expect. Next comes inflammation, and this part matters more than most people realize. Inflammation is your body's alarm system. It is useful in short bursts, like when you cut your finger. But when high blood sugar, poor diet, excess alcohol, smoking, poor sleep, or extra weight keep the alarm half on all the time, healthy tissue gets caught in the crossfire. StatPearls describes diabetic peripheral neuropathy as a mix of oxidative stress, inflammation, and cellular damage. That sounds technical, so let me simplify it. Think of rust forming inside a machine while the machine is still running. It grinds, it overheats, it stops moving smoothly. Your nerves can feel that same rough internal friction. This is why sugary, ultra-processed food is so problematic. It does not just push glucose up. It usually comes with low fiber, poor micronutrients, and lots of calories without real repair material. In contrast, foods like beans, vegetables, berries, nuts, whole grains if tolerated, lean protein, and omega-3 rich fish bring slower energy and the raw materials nerves need. Popular videos often get strong engagement when they talk about omega-3s, leafy greens, and B vitamins. And that makes sense. Those foods are not magical. They are repair-friendly. They help create a calmer internal environment. And a calmer internal environment gives injured nerves a better chance to stop shouting. Now here's the key that many viewers miss. Neuropathy is not only about too much sugar, it is also about too little nutrition. The same daily food pattern that spikes blood sugar often crowds out what nerves actually need. Mayo Clinic, Medline Plus, and the Foundation for Peripheral Neuropathy all mention the importance of B vitamins, especially B12, B1, and B6 balance, along with vitamin E, lean protein, fruits, vegetables, and whole foods. Older adults are especially important here because B12 absorption can decline with age. Alcohol can make things worse too, both by directly harming nerve tissue and by interfering with nutrition. So, if your meals are mostly packaged snacks, desserts, refined grains, and little real protein, your nerves may be getting hit from both sides. They are irritated and underfed at the same time. Picture trying to repair a damaged roof with no shingles, no wood, and a new rainstorm every afternoon. That is what your body is dealing with. One 70-year-old retired teacher went from barely tolerating bedsheets on her toes to sleeping through the night more often after 3 months of eating real breakfasts, reducing alcohol, and asking her clinician to check her vitamin levels. Sometimes the breakthrough is not one miracle food. It is finally removing the daily saboteur and replacing it with steady repair material. And then comes the fifth stage. The one that can change everything. Rebuilding the meal pattern. The science here is less exciting than social media, but it is far more useful. The goal is to reduce sharp sugar spikes and create stable meals. That means protein, fiber, color, and less processing. A breakfast built around eggs, unsweetened yogurt, berries, or oatmeal with nuts behaves very differently from a breakfast of sweet cereal and juice. A lunch with salmon, beans, salad, olive oil, and whole grains behaves differently from fries and a soda. A snack of nuts or plain yogurt behaves differently from cookies or candy. In research reviews, dietary programs for diabetic neuropathy show promise, but the human evidence is still limited, and not every study is large. That means I do not want to oversell this. Still, the direction is clear. Lifestyle changes are low risk for many people, and major medical organizations keep returning to the same advice because it matches how nerves live or die. Better blood sugar control, realistic exercise, good foot care, less alcohol, and better nutrition. That is the real nerve repair environment. So if you have been searching for the one forbidden food, I want you to think bigger. The real enemy is repeated daily blood sugar chaos from refined, sugary, ultra-processed eating. That pattern acts like a slow drip on the nervous system. Remove the drip, and the healing process finally has room to start. When I studied the most successful neuropathy videos, I noticed something else. The audience keeps asking the same questions in different ways. Can nerves recover? Why is it worse at night? Is it sugar, B12, or poor circulation? Is fruit bad? What about coffee, sweeteners, and alcohol? That pattern tells me people are not just looking for a scary title. They are looking for a map. And the map has to be honest. Yes, blood sugar matters. Yes, vitamin problems matter. Yes, alcohol can worsen nerve damage. But no, you do not have to fear every banana, every carb, or every meal. What your nerves hate most is repeated overload without balance. They hate the constant roller coaster. This is why I prefer a calm, structured plan over food panic. Your body needs less confusion, not more. Picture an irritated grandchild who has been given candy, skipped lunch, stayed up late, and is now melting down. You would not fix that chaos with another piece of candy. You would restore order. Your nerves respond the same way. They calm down when your meals become more predictable, more nourishing, and less extreme. There is one more overlooked piece: Many ultra-processed foods are designed to disappear quickly, but keep you wanting more. They are soft, sweet, salty, crispy, and easy to overeat. They do not fill you for long, so you circle back for another hit a few hours later. That creates a day of repeated mini spikes. It is like tapping a bruise over and over. Each tap is small, but the area never gets a chance to settle. This is also why liquid sugar is such a major problem. Juice, soda, sweet tea, sweet coffee drinks, and energy drinks can rush into the bloodstream without the fiber that slows the impact. Add alcohol on top of that, especially in the evening, and the situation can get even worse. Alcohol is not only empty calories. Mayo Clinic and other medical sources warn that it can worsen peripheral neuropathy, while nutrition-focused sources also note that it may contribute to vitamin depletion. So if your nights are the worst, look closely at your evenings. The pain may not be random. It may be following your routine. Let me quickly clear up 3 myths. Myth 1. Neuropathy is just part of getting older. No. Age can raise risk, but burning, numbness, weakness, or balance problems deserve attention. Myth 2. If it comes and goes, it is harmless. Also no. Early neuropathy can be on and off. Myth 3. If you buy one supplement, the problem is fixed. I wish it were that simple. Some supplements do have evidence behind them. Alpha-lipoic acid has shown some benefit for painful diabetic neuropathy in some studies, and Mayo Clinic notes there is some evidence it can help. But supplements do not cancel out a daily pattern of soda, sweets, white flour, and excess alcohol. They are more like helper tools. If the house is still flooding, a better mop does not solve the plumbing. And please do not underestimate movement. One of the most boring but powerful tools is a simple walk. Reviews on diabetic neuropathy repeatedly note that physical activity and realistic lifestyle changes can help because your muscles pull glucose out of the bloodstream and improve how your body handles sugar. Think of your muscles like helpful sponges. When they stay idle all day, more sugar stays circulating. When they contract, they help soak some of that burden up. You do not need a fancy gym. If your doctor says it is safe, short walks after meals, chair exercises, gentle strength work, tai chi, or pool exercise can all support the same mission: steadier blood sugar, better circulation, stronger balance, and fewer falls. Food sets the stage, but movement helps carry the message all the way to the feet. Now I need to slow down and give you the safety truth. This approach is not a replacement for medical care. If you have sudden weakness, rapid worsening, one-sided symptoms, foot wounds, dizziness when you stand, bladder issues, or repeated falls, get evaluated. Neuropathy can come from diabetes, alcohol, vitamin deficiencies, thyroid problems, kidney disease, infections, autoimmune illness, chemotherapy, toxins, and other causes. If you have diabetes and take insulin or medicines that lower blood sugar, do not slash your carbohydrates or start fasting aggressively without medical guidance. Your numbers can drop too low. If you are pregnant or breastfeeding, do not experiment with fasting or high-dose supplements unless your clinician says it is safe. If you are underweight, frail, or have a history of disordered eating, a strict plan can backfire. If you have kidney disease, some foods and supplements may need adjustment. And please be careful with vitamin B6. Too little can be a problem, but too much can also cause neuropathy. More is not always better. If you are considering alpha-lipoic acid, many studies use about 600 milligrams a day, but it can affect blood sugar and may upset the stomach or irritate the skin. If you are considering acetyl L-carnitine, Mayo Clinic notes that it can interact with warfarin, affect thyroid medicine, and may not be appropriate if you have seizures or bipolar disorder. So talk with your clinician before adding it. And if you drink alcohol heavily, know that alcohol can directly damage nerves and worsen vitamin shortages. Cutting back is not just a lifestyle tip. For some people, it is a nerve protection step. So what do you do starting tomorrow morning? Keep it simple. For the next 2 weeks, remove the biggest sugar spikes first. That means sugary drinks, juice, pastries, donuts, candy, sweet cereals, and obvious dessert habits. Then look for the sneaky ones: sweetened coffee drinks, flavored yogurt, crackers, white bread, sugary oatmeal packets, snack bars, and large piles of white rice or fries. Build each meal around one anchor of protein and 1 or 2 high-fiber plant foods. Breakfast can be eggs with spinach and berries, or plain yogurt with nuts and chia, or oatmeal with seeds and no added sugar. Lunch can be beans with salad and tuna, or chicken with vegetables and olive oil. Dinner can be fish, lentils, vegetables, and a modest portion of slow-digesting carbs if you tolerate them well. If you snack, make it deliberate, not constant. Try nuts, a boiled egg, plain yogurt, or vegetables with hummus. Drink water instead of liquid sugar. Walk after meals if your balance allows. Even 10 minutes can help your body use glucose better. Check your feet every day. Look for blisters, cuts, redness, or swelling. If you have diabetes, monitor your blood sugar as directed. Keep a small notebook. Rate your burning, tingling, numbness, balance, sleep, and energy from 0 to 10. Real improvement is often gradual. Some people feel steadier within a couple of weeks because their blood sugar swings calm down. Nerve healing itself is slower. It may take weeks or months, not days. That is normal. You are not failing if the change is slow. You are rebuilding wiring, not polishing furniture. If you want an even easier rule, use the plate method. Fill half the plate with non-starchy vegetables, a quarter with protein, and the last quarter with a slower carbohydrate if needed. Spread carbohydrates more evenly through the day, instead of saving them for one giant evening meal. That helps reduce the roller coaster. If you suspect vitamin problems, ask your clinician whether testing for B12 and other deficiencies makes sense. If your symptoms are worse at night, focus especially on dinner and evening snacks, because late sugar surges can make nighttime sensations feel louder. And please remember, foot safety. Check bathwater with your elbow if your feet are numb. Wear well-fitting shoes. Do not walk barefoot if you have reduced sensation. These small habits sound boring, but boring habits prevent dramatic problems. That is what evidence-based health often looks like. Not flashy, effective. So here is the message I want to leave with you. Neuropathy does not always begin with a crisis. Sometimes it begins with breakfast. The daily toxic trigger is usually not one mysterious supervillain. It is the repeated habit of sugar-heavy, ultra-processed, fast-digesting food that batters your blood sugar and starves your nerves. The good news is that this gives you leverage. You can change your meals. You can protect your feet. You can ask for the right tests. You can give your nerves a calmer place to heal. If this helped you, type yes in the comments. Like this video, share it with someone who complains about burning feet, and subscribe for more science-backed senior health guidance. I'm Dr. Alina Serratia, and I'll see you in the next one.